Well, good afternoon. I'm Randy Berg, Chair of the Board of the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of the Board, thank you. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I'd like to thank you for being here today for the State of the City, from Goleta to Carpinteria. The Chamber is proud to present today's event, connecting business with government, and it remains a key part of the Chamber's mission. We're pleased to present today's program in partnership with all three cities. This afternoon, you'll hear from Goleta Mayor Paula Perotte and City Manager Robert Nisbet, Carpinteria Mayor Natalia Alarcon and City Manager Michael Ramirez, and Santa Barbara Mayor Randy Rowse and City Administrator Kelly McAdoo. In addition, you'll hear a brief State of the Chamber, and we're extremely excited to present our Power On document. I'd like to give a special thanks to everyone who played a key role in putting this document and our program together. In the electricity reliability concerns of our region are being addressed, ultimately leading to creation of this document. My fellow members of the Electricity Working Group, Romy Kadri, Larry Doris, Demis John, Steve Gregg, Ivan Gregory, Kristen Miller, and Dustin Hoseth. Numerous other businesses from Goleta to Carpinteria have helped us gather data and give us input. The Office of State Senator Monique Limon and Senator Limon's team, the California Public Utilities Commission and Commissioner Darcy Houck. Thank you for joining us, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you our President and CEO, Kristen Miller.
Thank you, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Kristen Miller, President and CEO of the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce from Goleta to Carpinteria. And I'm delighted to be here with all of you today to hear these important updates from our city leaders joining us from all three cities on the South Coast. Events like today's State of the City would not be possible without the support of our sponsors. Please help me thank our premier sponsors who make today's event possible. Title sponsors are American Indian Health and Services, Cottage Health, Cox Communications, Hilton Santa Barbara Beachfront Resort, Montecito Bank and Trust, Royal Restoration Santa Barbara, Sansom Clinic, now part of Sutter Health, and UCLA Health. I'd like to thank our corporate sponsors, Community West Bank, Courtyard Marriott Santa Barbara Goleta. Hold your applause and I'll do them in a group. Residence Inn by Marriott Santa Barbara Goleta and Signature Aviation. Okay, applaud for them. Our supporting sponsors include, I'll give you a group of them, Agilent Technologies, Appfolio, Atlantic Aviation, Brownstein Hyatt Farber Schreck, Chevron, Ed Hat, Google, Grid Store, LinkedIn, Marburg Industries, Nicholson and Schwartz, and Newshawk. Applause. Aren't these all your favorite businesses? I know you're all here, and I know you all work with these fabulous people, including also the Pacific Coast Business Times, Sable Offshore, Santa Barbara Airport, Santa Barbara Independent, Santa Barbara Zoo, Solomon Hills, Southern California Edison, the Ritz-Carlton Bacara, the Tobes Group, UC Santa Barbara, and Work Zones. Truly an appreciative round of applause for all of these sponsors whose connection to the Chamber make this event possible and all of our work with government so stellar. In addition, I'd like to thank the Hilton Santa Barbara Beachfront Resort again for having us at this wonderful location. I'm often thanking Jay Farbman for making us look so good in photos, Pour Lamar Nursery for the beautiful centerpieces and flowers on the table, and Encore Audio Visual for the technical support today. We are going to hear a few words from our title sponsors that you just heard listed throughout the program. It's my pleasure to start by introducing Scott Black from American Indian Health and Services to say a few words. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Scott Black. For over 17 years, I've had the privilege of serving as the Chief Executive Officer of American Indian Health and Services. AIH&S was created to help the federal government meet a trust responsibility with Indian people. But today, we do so much more. For over 30 years, AIH&S has provided quality health care to members of Santa Barbara, Goleta, Carpinteria, and surrounding communities. During this time, we have not asked for support, but now we have the opportunity to permanently establish roots with the purchase of this amazing property. The next few years, you'll see this building come back to life as our fully integrated clinic home. In fact, before the Army was built, this was a hospital to serve wounded veterans of World War II. Although some of you may not know us, you're familiar with the site of our future clinic location at the corner of State and Las Positas in Santa Barbara, the former United States Army Reserve building. With the support of Congressman Salud Carbajal, Santa Barbara City Council, the Indian Health Services, and several others, this has become a reality. We look forward to breaking ground on our new campus soon. This will not only allow us to continue serving our patients with a permanent home, but it will bring welcome improvements to this corner. As you can see from the slide, we will be upgrading the existing historic buildings. Our name, American Indian Health and Services, doesn't express the full breadth of our work and who we serve. Each year, we care for over 8,800 unique patients with over 40,000 comprehensive visits. Our team includes excellent board-certified family practice medical providers with pediatric, optometry, and ENT providers. Our dental department focuses on specialized oral health and a full-time endodontist and a full-time orthodontist to complement the services of our team of 8 other dentist professionals. Behavioral health services at American Indian Health and Services includes counseling from one of our 3 psychologists, 4 licensed clinical social workers, 2 marriage and family therapists, 1 specializing in substance abuse disorder, and by June, a full-time psychiatrist. AIH&S offers transformative services, including laser tattoo removal and our latest addition, the mobile mammography bus. Both are designed to make a meaningful difference in our patients' lives by providing them with care that is not always available, along with potential new opportunities. Our cultural services are open to all and create a welcome space to do basket weaving, talking circles, while learning about determinants of health like glucose monitoring, healthy eating, and why my doctor asks so many questions. As both Indian Health Clinic and a federally qualified health center, we serve all community members, the majority of whom live at or below 200% of the federal poverty level. Only 12% of our patients are American Indian or Alaska Native. We believe we should treat each other the way we all would like to be treated, and the local tribes have lived this way for a very long time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. Now, please help me welcome to the stage Jose Munoz from Royal Restoration Santa Barbara.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's truly an honor to be here today and represent Royal Restoration at this year's State of the City event. My name is Jose Munoz. For those that do not know me, I am proudly born and raised here in beautiful Santa Barbara, California. Our story began over 30 years ago when my late father, Jose Sr., founded Royal Carpet Cleaning. Further down the line in 2022, our sister division, Royal Restoration, came into existence, and this year, our final division, Royal Property Services, was born. Today, I have the privilege of continuing my father's legacy, creating my own, and leading our team with the same values we've always held: quality, integrity, and compassion. We're a family-run business, and that personal touch shows in every project we take on. On a more personal note, my wife is a registered nurse for Sutter Health, and while she unfortunately doesn't work with me in restoring homes, Her background in healthcare has made me more aware of the serious impacts mold and water damage can have on us and the places we either work or live in. Things like asthma, fatigue, neurological side effects, and even long-term health effects can all be triggered by poor indoor air quality and mold. And that's why we're not just restoring buildings, we're helping to protect people's health and peace of mind. We're proud to share that mission with some of the city's most respected healthcare providers like Cottage Hospital, Samson Clinic, UCLA Health, and Sutter Health. These institutions work tirelessly to care for our community, and we see ourselves as a complementary part of that health ecosystem. Whether it's ensuring a home is mold-free for a recovering patient, or maintaining a safe environment in a medical facility, our work in remediation directly supports the health and recovery goals these providers strive for every day. Royal Restoration is proud to be Santa Barbara's trusted partner for both residential and commercial restoration services. We specialize in restoring properties after water, fire, and mold damage, and we respond 24/7 because we know emergencies don't have time to wait. We want to say we do it all, we mean it. From the initial assessment to water extraction to fire and smoke cleanup to mold remediation, we handle everything in-house with licensed and certified technicians using the best equipment practices available to date. And most importantly, we do it with a heart for service. So on behalf of the entire team at Royal Restoration, thank you for being here and for letting us be a part of this wonderful community event. Whether it's in times of crisis or routine maintenance, we're here to serve the Santa Barbara community with the same dedication we've had for the past 3 decades. Thank you.
Thank you again, Jose. Now I would like to recognize the elected officials who are with us today. I'm going to ask you to each stand and we'll hold our applause for each group. From the City of Goleta, Mayor Paula Perotte, Mayor Pro Tem Stuart Kasdan, Councilmember James Carriaco, Councilmember Luz Reyes Martin, and Councilmember Jennifer Smith. From the City of Carpinteria, Mayor Natalia Alarcon and Councilmember Julia Mayer. From the City of Santa Barbara, Mayor Randy Rowse, Councilmember Mike Jordan, and Councilmember Wendy Santamaria. From 1st District Santa Barbara County Supervisor Roy Lee. From Congressman Salud Carbajal's office, Esmeralda Estrada. From the office of Senator Monique Limon, Benjamin Peterson, and Stephanie Ramirez Zarate. From the office of Assemblymember Greg Hart, Aljali Linville. And the Santa Barbara City College of Board of Trustees, Jonathan Aboud and David Morris. Last but not least, Goleta West Sanitary District Director Eva Turenchuk. Thank you to all of the elected officials joining with us today as we bring business and government together. It's my pleasure now to hear from our title sponsor, UCLA Health. Please give a warm welcome to Robbie Gluckson.
Thank you, Kristen. It's great to see so many familiar faces. When I arrived, I felt just really overwhelmed by, really, I have to say, the love in the room. I hadn't gotten even to the table with my name badge, and I already saw about 12 people who all came up to me just to touch base, and it was very powerful. We opened up here at the height of COVID. We actually opened our Montecito clinic in March of 2020, which was really something to really have that bold ability to say, we can do this. I will never forget it. We stand here 5 years later. The day of March 13th, 2020 is an important day for all of us to remember. And I'm just thrilled that we can be here to celebrate and to take time and really honor the people who do all the heavy lifting every day. I want to welcome the Bruins and the Gauchos in the house. Please give me some Gaucho love. I say that because UCLA Health really is here because of UCSB, their chancellor, came to us and said, hey, you're in Conejo, you're in Ventura, you're in SLO, what about us? And so 5 years later, we are in State Street, we are in Montecito, we're in Goleta, we're in Santa Maria, and quite frankly, we're crushing it. And we love you all, and we really love our Gauchos and our Bruins. UCLA Health, their cornerstone of the organization is health research, clinical care, medical education, and my favorite part, community engagement. I mentioned all of our locations. I think the big news today, this morning, I called our medical directors and said, hey, I got a minute on the podium, what do you want me to say? And they came with two messages. The first one is that we are dramatically expanding primary and specialty care with many new doctors, lots of contracts out, new doctors starting, and of course, please give us affordable housing. Even though doctors do very well, they really have a hard time here in Santa Barbara. But we have a lot of new docs coming, and we're very, very excited about that. And the second thing, very big news, is we are dramatically expanding our cancer clinical trials. We have, the institution as a whole has the largest number of clinical trials, particularly in cancer, west of the Mississippi, and many of them are now, I'm so happy, are open here in Santa Barbara. And that is how you cure cancer, with cancer clinical trials. So I will leave it at that. I want to thank all of you for being here. Last thing I'm going to say, I don't know if you noticed, if you looked at that title slide of the title sponsors, look how many are healthcare. It really warms me that all of our colleagues in healthcare up here are celebrating together and recognizing the work of the city and the chamber. In healthcare, we're all better together, and that really is my closing message. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robbie. It is truly my pleasure to be here today, addressing the largest gathering of the year of chamber members, elected officials, and community leaders. An event like this demonstrates the strength and unity of our community and our commitment to working together toward a brighter future. Each year, we take this opportunity to share with you who the chamber is, what we're doing, and how that connects to the current landscape for our businesses, our civic leaders, and our community. The world feels like it's shifting under our feet right now. Fast-paced changes at the federal level to some of our most long-standing patterns and processes are difficult to manage. These disruptions to the local economy are just that, disruptions, whether we agree or disagree with the intention or the long-term goals of the policy changes occurring. Business does not do well with abrupt change, and we're experiencing disruption in many levels of the economy. That makes the chamber's steady hand, thoughtful pace, inclusive practices, and consensus-based programs so effective. There are things we cannot control at the federal level, but locally, on the Santa Barbara South Coast, our public-private partnerships are more important than ever. Changes in government funding, immigration policies, tariffs, and international trade, these are forces beyond our control. Even shifts within the federal government's workforce, which impact local offices and the services our businesses rely on, are creating additional challenges. But where we do have control is how we respond. That's what we're doing here today, to present a clear understanding of the challenges, put forth solutions, and bring everyone together in making those solutions a reality. The economy is uncertain, but the chamber is not. Last month, the Chamber Board launched a robust strategic planning process, which has never been more relevant or more necessary. This plan will zero in on 3 key areas that are absolutely critical to the health and growth of our region: economic development, workforce development, and say it with me, housing the workforce. Economic development. We are actively collaborating with each of the cities and the county to launch economic development programs designed to foster resilience. As we approach this upcoming budget cycle, we recognize that now's the time to put our plans into action. Our goal is to empower our local economy, take charge of our own destiny. Our economy cannot thrive without a robust, skilled workforce. but developing and retaining talent requires a proactive approach. We're working with educational institutions, businesses, and policymakers to create pathways for success, from training programs to partnerships that build careers right here in our community. We all know that housing remains one of the biggest challenges of our region. It's not just about affordability, it's also about accessibility. We're committed to advocating for policies and projects that will increase housing options, making it feasible for workers to live where they work. Keeping our workforce local strengthens our local economy. It reduces the strain on infrastructure. It builds a healthier, more vibrant community. As we are laser focused on economic development, there's another critical issue we cannot afford to overlook, and that is the reliability of our electricity grid. Our local companies are not just participants on the energy transition, they are leaders creating the technologies that will power a cleaner, more sustainable future. But their ability to innovate, to expand, and to thrive is severely hindered by an unreliable energy grid. This is why we launched Power On, the booklet you find on your tables today. We must ensure that our businesses have the stable, reliable energy infrastructure that we expect in the 8th largest economy in the world here in California. Our work is about more, thank you, than just keeping the lights on. It's about creating an energy framework that supports technological advancement, economic growth, and environmental stewardship. Today is a celebration about collaboration. It's about recognizing the incredible work happening in our cities, looking forward to exciting opportunities ahead. It is also a time to acknowledge that navigating our local economy has challenges, and those are challenges we can't ignore. They're real, but we have the ability to respond with action, foresight, and guess what? Determination. Our focus is sharpened. We're committed to breaking down barriers and fostering an environment where businesses can thrive. And when businesses thrive, our communities thrive. It's all connected. We can't control everything, but we can shape our local economy to be resilient, adaptable, and forward-thinking. And we do that by working together. To engage in these efforts, we invite you to join us. Stand with us in making a real difference. If there's one thing I know, it's the strength of our community lies in its ability to come together, innovate, and take charge of our future. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your commitment to our shared success, and thank you. To kick off the next portion of our program and introduce our first mayor presentation, I get to welcome title sponsor Lindsay Cortina from Sansom Clinic, now a part of Sutter Health. Welcome, Lindsay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Kristen, for this really inspiring State of the City event. It's really clear to me that all of us who are here are really pulling in the same direction toward a stronger, healthier, more connected, and really thriving South Coast. My name is Lindsay Cortina. I am a proud new board member at the Chamber, and I also serve as the Vice President of Strategy and Business Development at Sansom Clinic, which is now part of Sutter Health. And Sutter Health and Sansom Clinic happens to be a place where that vision of a stronger, more connected, and truly thriving local community runs really deep. From the beginning, it was really clear to us that Sutter shares a core belief that we have held at Sansom for the last 100+ years, which is that for a community to thrive, there must be strong local health care, and that it must be truly woven into the fabric of that community. So now we are extremely proud to be part of a system that shares those values and is helping us keep building, investing, and expanding access to really deliver on that promise for this region. Since officially joining Sutter Health about a year and a half ago, we have made access a top priority, and we're seeing real progress, and we hope you are too. Many in our community had perhaps even given up on trying to establish primary care with us. It's okay if you were one of those, because I have good news. Today, our wait times are down to just under 2 weeks. So that has really been in large part to the 40-plus new clinicians that we've welcomed throughout the past year, many of whom were in primary care. So if you need a primary care physician, feel free to pull out your phone and visit sansomclinic.org, click the teal New Primary Care Patients button, and you will see appointments within 2 weeks. And because we're a multi-specialty group and that care is really integrated, it's not just faster, but it's really comprehensive. We've continued to build on one of our greatest strengths, the Ridley Tree Cancer Center, which has long been treasured for its comprehensive services. It now anchors a growing regional cancer network with our expansion of radiation oncology services in San Luis Obispo and Templeton. At our Foothill Surgery Center here in Santa Barbara, we are advancing what is possible in outpatient care. We're proud to be one of the first centers in the country to offer the new Da Vinci 5 robotic surgical system, which is the most advanced platform available today. And just last month, that surgery center, Foothill Surgery Center, was named one of the best ambulatory surgery centers in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. That recognition doesn't only reflect innovation, but it's really a reflection of the outstanding outcomes and trust that our teams deliver every day, a couple of whom are here today. We're also investing in specialties that have long lacked access here. One example is Dr. Benjamin Wisner, our region's first urogynecologist, who now offers expert robotic surgical care for pelvic floor conditions, which greatly expands women's health services in the community. And this is really just the beginning. More specialists are on the way to join our teams in neurology, GI, orthopedics, and the addition of women's cardiology. All of this will help us ensure that patients and you all across the South Coast have access to the care you need close to home. We are really proud of the leaders behind this work. One example is Dr. Katrina Mitchell, a breast surgeon at Ridley Tree, who was named the 2025 Woman of the Year by Senator Monique Limon, recognizing her advocacy in women's health and mental health. And at the end of the day, our mission is simple: to be a partner in building a healthier Central and South Coast where care is accessible, innovative, and community-rooted. That includes Goleta, where we will soon be announcing initiatives to expand access and deepen our presence. And that also gives me the perfect opportunity and pleasure to introduce you to our next speaker, Goleta Mayor Paula Perotte.
Okay, thank you, Kristen, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm a little old school. I have my papers here in front of me. As Goleta's mayor, I am honored to be communicating the results of our collective vision and hard work. Our successes derive from our strong city staff, commissioners, and council, and most importantly, our strong residents. It's no surprise that I can proudly declare the state of Goleta is, yes, very strong. Thank you. Instead of highlighting just last year's successes, reviewing the last 5 years gives us a better perspective on Goleta's upward trajectory. I'll focus on areas that matter most to our residents: public safety, housing affordability, quality of life, environmental protection, and resident participation in governance. Public safety is government's job one. Major storms, fires, a pandemic, and even a small plane crash of the past 5 years have proven we are ready. We dedicate $11.5 million, the largest part of our budget, to community protection. Our policing contract has grown by nearly $4 million over the past 5 years. And you know what? It's paid off. Goleta has experienced a 15% reduction in overall crimes such as aggravated assault, robbery, burglaries, and theft. Since recent catastrophic fires in Los Angeles and Ventura, we've taken significant steps to reduce our fire risks, enhance our readiness. Our $27 million Fire Station 10 is shovel-ready, and this will significantly improve area response times. We've removed dead trees and overgrown brush, 90 acres at the Elwood Mesa Eucalyptus Grove, creating a vital, defensible space. Further, we've made significant progress in reducing fire danger by addressing encampments near railroad tracks and public spaces. This has been achieved by creating housing at Buena Tierra, primarily for Goleta's homeless, and by greater law enforcement. We've also welcomed our new Emergency Services Coordinator, Jason Levy, who is helping refine our emergency plan and is gearing up to relaunch the Goleta Community Emergency Response Team. To ensure safer roads, sidewalks, and bike paths since 2019, we have invested millions into infrastructure and maintenance. For the past 3 years, we've upped our spending for pavement improvements to $5 million annually, compared with only $1.8 million in 2019. And for the upcoming fiscal year, we've doubled our budget for roads and infrastructure to $10 million. Just some of the key improvements include reconditioning 12 miles of roads, upgrading more than 2,000 feet of sidewalks, especially in Old Town, where 5 years ago there were virtually none, installing 17 miles of bike lanes, including downtown Old Town, where none existed since cityhood, and lowering speed limits throughout the city. But wait, there's more. We also installed 7 signalized pedestrian crosswalks near schools and high-traffic areas. We've begun work on an under-the-freeway passage in eastern Goleta, and by 2027, it will provide a safe way for pedestrians and bike riders to travel to and from Caireao, Old Town, and beach communities. We constructed bike lanes on Cathedral Oaks and in Old Town to separate bike and car travel. And work has begun on the Echo-Fowler bypass to reduce Old Town traffic. We've also secured funding to fix the defective wall that supports the western end of Cathedral Oaks. This defect predates Goleta's incorporation. Also, construction is underway on the Goleta train station. When completed this summer of 2026, it will increase commuter and visitor safety and convenience. Another way of increasing public safety is lowering risks from oil leaks and dangerous emissions that existed 5 years ago from oil facilities in Elwood. Now these dangers have been virtually eliminated, and we look to the day that the area returns to original non-industrial zoning. Another key area of community concern is housing affordability. Over the last 5 years, we've made significant progress in addressing housing affordability. We've approved 5 housing projects that added a total of 1,143 units, 245 of which are affordable, including Villages at Los Caneros, Winslow, Cortona Apartments, Heritage Ridge, under construction now, and Buena Tierra. Many smaller developments and accessory dwelling units have also increased our housing stock. We also won a settlement with UCSB by their agreeing to provide 3,500 new on-campus student beds by 2027. This will free up some Goleta housing currently occupied by UCSB students. We recognize that housing challenges remain. The state of California mandated rezoning for more potential housing. And to regain some local control over residential design and zoning standards, we successfully adopted the required housing element in December of 2023. Goleta is known as a great place to live, work, and play, and our wonderful parks are a great reason. We're home to 30 parks and open spaces, 550 acres in all. Over the past 5 years, we've virtually doubled Goleta's recreational capacity. Johnny D. Wallace Neighborhood Park opened in Old Town, and we improved playgrounds at 4 neighborhood parks. We opened the first community garden at our Meadows Park, and we launched an Adopt a Park program. We opened a multi-purpose field at the Goleta Community Center, and we also supported efforts to transition tennis courts at the community center for more pickleball courts. And when our Goleta Groves Park master plan is realized, it will include the city's first universal playground accessible to people with physical challenges. The monarch butterfly habitat management plan is now underway thanks to a $4 million grant secured with help of then-Senator Hannah-Beth Jackson. And we've already planted over 500 new trees and 5,000 native plants with the help of hundreds of volunteers. Since the city took over management of Goleta's Community Center, we completed seismic retrofitting in 2024 with a $5 million in grants, in addition with $3 million grant funding secured by Congressmember Salud Carbajal. And soon, ADA improvements will be implemented. Our Goleta Valley Library is undergoing a state-funded $4.2 million safety and accessibility renovation. Until it is completed in 2027, a temporary library will be open soon, very close to Goleta, the City Hall. Beyond public safety, housing, and recreation, we've made so much more outstanding progress. We are protecting the environment through initiatives like the Creek and Watershed Master Plan, Plastic-Free Goleta, and an initiative to reduce the reliance on fossil fuel. City Hall's energy is already fossil fuel-free, and solar charging stations have been installed for the public and city employees to use. We've grown public engagement with numerous actions, including launching our LEAD Academy to help residents become more knowledgeable and motivated to participate in city governance. Since 5 years ago, when our LEAD class had 18 graduates, we now have graduated a total of 138. 5 years ago, we had just 27 city notifications in Spanish, but last year, more than 200 were sent. In addition, today, we are offering live Spanish interpretation at all our council meetings. We also provide live broadcasting of council meetings on YouTube with closed captioning and Spanish subtitles available. And we're growing our digital outreach. Since 5 years ago, we nearly doubled our newsletter subscribers and increased text and email notifications by 13,000. And our improved city website saw over 200,000 visits just last year, while our enhanced City Assist system saw requests increase from 3,200 to 4,700 since 2019. All of these accomplishments are possible only because Goleta remains fiscally strong, but I don't want to steal our thunder from our city manager, Robert Nisbet, who will provide a detailed update later in the program. From this look back on the past 5 years, I hope you'll agree that the state of our city is strong. Just a look at the past year, you will see what another great year we had in the good land.
It's so wonderful to see so many people taking time out of their busy lives to celebrate this important achievement for our city.
The
such a great honor to mark this official opening of our first permanent supportive housing in Toledo. The largest electric vehicle charging project that the city has ever undertaken. We're so glad that you're here to share this magical moment with us.
It's so good to be here. This is always one of my favorite times to come and get to meet all of you, and really thank you for participating in this class.
We need the community feedback. We need to hear from you. We want you to ask questions.
Getting the public aware and involved, it matters. And you guys now will be in a position to do that.
Love the damn dinner. Come every year. Weather's superb. People are great. You got to come next year.
Santa Barbara Nissan has been locally family owned and operated, and we are open for business.
We are open for business.
So in closing, while many, many challenges do remain, the progress we've made gives us confidence that our trajectory points dramatically upward. With your continued support and involvement, Goleta will soar ever higher. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Perotte. To introduce our next mayor presentation, I'd like to welcome to the stage title sponsor Scott Webster from Cottage Health.
Thank you. I'm Scott Webster, new to the Santa Barbara region, leading Cottage Health for the past, I just crossed the 100-hour mark. So it's truly an honor and joy to be in this role and, of course, to be part of this fabulous community. Our President Emeritus, Ron Wolft, is here in the audience. Ron, thank you. Unusual to have someone who has dedicated his whole professional career and, of course, his life in the Santa Barbara community, serving 25 years as the CEO of Cottage Health and making sure that Cottage stays strong. I was inspired to join Cottage because for decades I've seen Cottage set up and achieve high standards in everything that it does. The quality care, the clinical teams, the work that Cottage does in the community, and of course helping Cottage hospitals thrive. It's truly an elite organization. Cottage has a national reputation for its excellence, and I'll be working hard to protect this vital resource we all love in our community across the region. Like many, we continue to expand into primary care, our specialty clinics, and we're so engaged in research and, more importantly, to ensure we connect with the community through our population health efforts. We've also created the Compton Center for Medical Excellence and Innovation. Please look at the screen for this exciting announcement.
Collaboration. Exciting.
Future.
Blockbuster.
It's really about creating solutions that improve the way people provide and receive care.
This, to me, excites me about what it has the potential for our staff. You know, they could transform as well from caregivers to creators.
What excites me the most is the possibility that we'd be able to incorporate new practices, new equipment that would make the patient experience and the clinician experience better.
People are very excited about this innovation center because everyone's excited about the future. It's for my kids' kids, and onwards.
It's an investment by our wonderful donors, but it's an investment by our system, by our healthcare workers, by our team that's going to really show up over years and likely decades. A patient in 4 years is going to have the potential to truly feel and see the impact of that.
The culture of shared governance and the core values of Cottage, being excellence and integrity and compassion, it just all lines up.
This new project is a vehicle for the medical residents from all the fields to be able to take what they do every single day on the front lines and make it bigger, make it better.
It can come from inside the organization, or we could partner with startups or universities that help us develop the solutions together.
The enthusiasm, the building blocks, and the support to formalize this approach to innovation is going to lead to a lot of breakthrough ideas that are going to improve patient care in this organization.
So thank you again for the warm welcome today. And now please join me in welcoming from the city of Carpinteria, Mayor Natalia Alarcon. Mayor.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Natalia Alarcon, Mayor of the City of Carpinteria, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all today at the State of the City Address. I'm thrilled to share the progress we've made over the past year and share about the Council's vision that has guided us through some exciting milestones. I'll also take a look at what lies ahead for Carpinteria, ensuring it remains a vibrant, special place and at the forefront of everyone who calls it home, both now and in the years to come. You'll hear a theme in my speech. This year, the City Council identified 5 key goals to shape our future. We're focused on enhancing public outreach and ensuring that everyone's voice is heard, creating a more connected and transparent community. As we grow, we're committed to preserving the unique beachside character that makes Carpinteria so special. Financial sustainability, to no surprise, is a top priority. And it's important for us to be well prepared, and we need to be ready to address any challenges that come our way. We're also working to strengthen community collaboration and invest in a high-performance team at City Hall. Who doesn't like more efficiency? Together, these goals provide a clear and unified vision for the next 2 years. One of the goals I would really like to highlight is strengthening community collaboration, especially with our senior population. With 21% of Carpinteria's residents being seniors, it's crucial to foster strong connections and ensure that they have the support that they need. An excellent example of this is the development of our Age Well program. What started as a part-time initiative has now expanded significantly since being fully adopted in early 2024. Over the past year, Age Well has served hundreds of residents, offering an average of 20 diverse programs every week to enhance the well-being of older adults in our community. In partnership with the Central Coast Commission for Senior Citizens, Age Well runs a highly successful lunch program providing free meals to about 40 people every weekday. The program also partners with over 40 organizations annually, further expanding its reach and impact. None of this would be possible without the support of dedicated volunteers whose contributions help ensure that all programs remain free of charge. This is a reflection of the power of community collaboration, and I'm proud of how far we've come in making Carpinteria a more connected and supportive place for everyone. As we reflect on the progress made over the past year, it's evident that preserving the heart and soul of Carpinteria is just as important as planning for the future. We've committed ourselves to supporting the economic vitality of our business community while also protecting unique assets that make Carpinteria so special. Or as the locals would say, would keep carp carp. A significant milestone in this effort was the recent acquisition of the Rincon Gateway Bluffs by the Land Trust for Santa Barbara County. This 2.48-acre property, located along the eastern edge of the Carpinteria Bluffs, is now preserved for future generations. The city, yes. The city is proud to support this collaboration with the Land Trust and is dedicated to protecting the habitat for years to come. These open spaces not only enhance the quality of life for our residents and businesses, but also attract visitors, providing a valuable boost to our local economy. This year, we've faced significant challenges as well. We've had to say goodbye to some of our long-standing businesses. For those from Carpinteria, you'll know the Palms. We're going to miss them, and Robitaille. And it's always difficult to say goodbye to those familiar places and faces. Despite this, we remain committed to supporting the businesses that continue to call Carpinteria home. We're working hard to provide them with the resources they need to adapt and thrive in a constantly changing environment. At the same time, we're embracing change and welcoming new businesses to Carpinteria, bringing fresh energy, new opportunities, and services to our town, all while preserving the unique charm that defines us. A prime example of this is Linden Square, which is set to open later this spring. This project balances growth with the preservation of our town's character. Linden Square will feature restaurants, a bar, coffee shop, and yoga and Pilates space, offering valuable support to local businesses and attracting new visitors to the community. So if you have not been to Carpinteria, we welcome you to come. Through a collaborative effort between the city and the developer, the project preserves the building's original architecture, maintaining its historical integrity while transforming it into a shared space for small businesses. It's a revitalization that honors the past while preparing us for the future. And Linden Square is just one example. There's other spaces in the area that are being prepared for new tenants, further contributing to the revitalization of our community. As we reflect on how far we've come and the steps we're taking to ensure a thriving future, it's also important to appreciate the history that has shaped us. To do so, let's take a moment to look back at the transformation of Carpinteria over the past 60 years, at how far we've come and how much more we have to look forward to. Before Carpinteria became a coastal retreat, it was home to the Chumash people. They fostered a deep connection with the land and honored its abundance as skilled navigators and caretakers. Come 1912, Carpinteria existed as a quiet agricultural town, and by the 1960s, the city was celebrated as one of Southern California's most vibrant seaside gems. Since its incorporation in 1965, and even long before that milestone, Carpinteria has been a beacon of rich history, community, and culture. Over the decades, Carpinteria has prioritized thoughtful development for the needs of its community. An expanding population, diversifying industries, and flourishing tourism are integral parts of the city's liveliness. Today, Carpinteria continues to shine as a diverse and spirited city. stunning beaches, thriving art scene, and strong community ties make it a beloved destination for residents and visitors alike. Join us as we celebrate 60 years of history in Carpinteria, where the past meets the present in a tapestry of community, culture, and steady progress. Over the past 60 years, we've made significant progress together and will continue to grow and maintain the strong sense of community that defines Carpinteria. A healthy community needs strong businesses, so if you haven't already, I encourage you to consider Carpinteria as an opportunity for your business. Stay involved, stay engaged, and contribute to the conversations and decisions that will shape our future. I want to ensure that you all save the date, September 2025, to join us in celebrating Carpinteria's 60th anniversary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Alarcon. To introduce our next mayor presentation, I would like to welcome to the stage title sponsor, Janet Garufas from Montecito Bank and Trust.
Well, it's wonderful to see so many of us here, and doesn't it feel like really positive and upbeat today? Yeah, come on. You've all been here for many of these, so I know this one's a little different. Feels really good. My name is Janet Garufas. It's my pleasure and privilege to serve as the chairman and CEO of Montecito Bank and Trust, the largest locally and privately owned community bank on the Central Coast. And as a title sponsor of the State of the City, it is my honor to speak with you today. I'd also like to give a shout out to my team who are here representing the bank this afternoon, over here at table 2. So wave it to everybody. There you go. I'd really like to thank the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce for hosting this annual forum and aligning the important information that we hear today from the mayors and city associates of Carpinteria, Goleta, and Santa Barbara. And as a member of the business community, we value the open communication and information provided by the cities. I also want to extend our thanks to Kristen and her dedicated team at the Chamber's Board of Directors for their commitment to doing what a local Chamber of Commerce does best, advocate for their business community. They continue to be the voice of business in our region, and while renewing and establishing deeper relationships with many of you, and encouraging collaboration on multiple fronts. 50 years ago, a visionary group of businessmen and women, including Michael Tobes, Jerry Parent, and John O'Keefe, opened the Bank of Montecito in a double-wide trailer on Coast Village Road, with the belief that their new bank could deliver exceptional and personalized customer service, contribute to the economic vitality of our communities, build lasting relationships, and fulfill the financial needs of our local community. And over the past 50 years, Montecito Bank and Trust has grown from that one little branch to 13 branches and 3 retirement home locations spanning Westlake to Santa Maria. And all through it, our commitment has been to make the communities we serve better places to live and work. It has remained at the center of everything that we do. Philanthropy and volunteerism are at our core, and they're made possible because of the vision of Michael Tobes, who believed we could make a meaningful impact in our community by investing in our local nonprofit organizations and supporting the vital work that they do. And over the past 50 years, Montecito Bank and Trust has donated more than $30 million to nonprofits in Santa Barbara and Ventura counties. Thank you. That's a lot for a little organization. Our associates serve on countless boards and committees, providing financial expertise and volunteer at numerous community events and fundraisers. I'm sure many of you have enjoyed their service. Community banks are true leaders and advocates for their communities. working for the good of the community and for their customers. And at Montecito Bank and Trust, we know that small businesses, like many of you, are the lifeblood of the community, and that you value a financial partner that provides a full suite of financial services to meet your individual and unique needs. And as the undisputed leader in business banking, we pride ourselves on being that very partner. We're your friends, we're your neighbors, we're your volunteers, we are your bank. And we're ready and able to partner with you to find solutions to fuel your success and to help you finance your dreams. So if you're looking to grow your business, buy equipment or more inventory, or just have a safety net to fall back on, and Lord knows we need that now, our business banking team has a loan, a line, or a credit card for that. And we also provide a full suite of treasury service offerings for efficient cash flow management, faster and safer payments, and more informed, real-time decision-making. We're proud to continue to work alongside you to see what we can accomplish next together, because behind every great community is a great community bank. To those of you in this room who bank with Montecito Bank and Trust, we thank you for your loyalty, your patronage, and for inspiring our associates to continue delivering the world-class experience that is synonymous with Montecito Bank and Trust. And if you're here and you have not yet had the chance to see what community banking at Montecito Bank and Trust is all about, then I invite you to come and see what we can offer you. I invite you to join our family at Montecito Bank and Trust. Thank you for being here today. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce from the city of Santa Barbara, our great mayor, Randy Rowse.
All right, good afternoon. Before I get started, I'm going to go slightly off script. A lot of people have been asking about our colleague, Eric Friedman. As most people know, Eric suffered a heart attack, but it's ironic we're doing all these healthcare sponsors today. He's in good hands. But I'm here to report on the behalf of Eric's family that the state of Eric is strong. And yeah, let's bring it up for Eric. He happens to be a guest of our friends at Cottage as we speak, but he's in great care. We do have fabulous care in this town, so it's very good. Anyway, so let's go back to script, shall we? Good afternoon. I'd like to thank the Chamber for organizing this little clam bake and bringing together my colleagues from Goleta and Carpinteria. We'll talk about our new intercity tariff program later on. The city of Santa Barbara's got a lot of plates in the air, as evidenced by projects, housing production, and trying to triage the flood of changing land use legislation and policy that our friends in Sacramento seem to produce on a daily basis to ensure that we don't get bored. But today I'll just touch on a very few of the major topics. Like most agencies, our budget is the top of our laundry list, as we are all challenged by an expense trajectory that continues to compete with revenue growth for first place in the race to the budgetary finish line with expense. So when we had backlogs of infrastructure in 2017, the voters passed Measure C. And that's allowed us to keep our constituents in a pretty constant state of irritation and confusion as we attack the daunting list of deferred maintenance and pavement conditions. We have around 254 centerline miles of roadway in the city, have completed about 34% of scheduled street rehabilitation so far. So while getting around town can have its challenges, bringing our roads, sidewalks, and utilities up to expected standards is precisely what the voters dictated. In addition, the revenue stream will service the bond recently obtained for our new police station, a long overdue replacement for a building that was originally designed to house about one-half of the department that serves us today. As we went out to bond, a nice bit of news was that the Santa Barbara City's bond rating is at one of the highest levels available for an agency such as ours, primarily due to fiscal discipline that maintains our budgetary reserves and the fact that we regularly pay down our principal on our pension obligations. That bond will also help service the financing for the Gwendolyn Strong Playground on the Dwight Murphy Field. That's a totally accessible playground. We'll be breaking out on that soon. Our economy, Santa Barbara's economy is largely hospitality-based, and the pandemic had a bigger impact here than on most agencies, particularly in our operations. And so this past year, voters overwhelmingly approved Measure I, which is a one-half sales tax that closes the gap between revenues and expenses. It allows for populating positions that have been held open in the police department for budgetary reasons and contributes to the newly formed Affordable Housing Trust Fund, as well as helping us maintain library open hours and branch services. In addition, many tech additions will serve to enhance public safety communication, as well as bilingual support for our public meetings. So as mayor, I get to represent our city on the Santa Barbara County Association of Governments. And as this year's chair of the SBCAG, I am pleased to report that we are on the cusp of funding the last section of the 101 Widening and HOV project. Yeah. It gets better. The local roundabouts, including Cabrillo at Los Patos and the other one at Olive Mill and Coast Village Road, are functioning and a part of the necessary improvements needed to bring out one of my personal fantasies. Forgive me, I get a little emotional here, the return of a southbound 101 on-ramp from Cabrillo. So if all goes as planned, I will travel to Sacramento in June to pick up the final tranche of funding that's needed to complete the construction of the project. It's about $137 million. It's had the full support of Senator Lamone, Assemblymember Hart, and our South Coast Chamber of Commerce. And in addition, heeding our long sought-after lane and train vision, a commuter rail service between Moore Park and Goleta should begin serving our coastal communities this fall. And that new train station on the Goleta will come in handy for that, won't it? That'll be great. As we battle alongside our partner agencies for the status of the federal funding stream, we work really closely with Congressman Carbajal and his staff for FEMA support to fix infrastructure that relates to the flooding in our Laguna district, as well as maintaining our ability to keep our harbor dredged to support our local fishing industry and the Coast Guard. And here we're accepting a check from Salud for some public safety communications equipment. So he's working very closely with us. Our Santa Barbara Airport, it continues to be a success story with record numbers of passengers, but they're traveling on fewer and newer and quieter commercial aircraft. So we've got more passengers, fewer flights. But there are some new routes from Southwest and Delta and add attractive convenience to our first direct flight, including our first direct flight to the East Coast, which is Atlanta. The completion of the airport master plan will provide for more convenient passenger parking, and the two fixed-based operation facilities will provide greater service and amenities for general aviation. And lastly, the development of those commercial spaces on the north side of Hollister enhances our industrial partnership and commercial cooperation with the city of Goleta. So, the happiest place in Santa Barbara is not, as most of you think, City Hall, but our own Santa Barbara Zoo. And no visit to Santa Barbara is complete without spending some time with one of our most outstanding amenities. Rich Block, the longtime leader of our zoo, has retired, but it is my pleasure to introduce and welcome to our community Charles Hopper, our new Santa Barbara Zoo Director. Where are you, Charles? There he is. It's pretty clear that Charles didn't get the memo for Rich. You're supposed to wear a T-Rex outfit to this event, so I hope next year you'll get that squared away. In Santa Barbara downtown quarter, the Tobes Library Plaza, named for Michael Tobes, has been completed and provides a wonderful open space while celebrating the historic architectural aspects of the main library. In addition, there are tech upgrades to the popular Faulkner Gallery, which will facilitate a more usable public space for events. Farmers Market, the Saturday Farmers Market that has moved to Carrillo and State and is more popular than ever. It used to be where the new police station is going to go. They moved to State Street, and it's been a fabulous transition. In addition, the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, it now occupies the former Fiesta 5 theater space, and it plans a multi-million-dollar makeover of this 5-screen facility, which will bring welcome energy and evening vitality to Mid-State Street. And as some of you may have heard, the Gauchos are in town. They have recently completed the purchase of the Soltara housing complex downtown, which will help house university employees and bring activity to Lower State Street. In addition, it'll be great. In addition, they also have 20,000 square feet of plus of usable space in the old Staples store, and they're going to bring something that'll be interactive with the public and bring more energy and vitality downtown. And the newly formed Downtown Santa Barbara Investment Association, which used to be the Downtown Organization or Downtown Santa Barbara, has been launched to provide maintenance and promotion in the downtown business district. But this is a private sector initiative in which the city participates as a partner with our other property-owning stakeholders. Santa Barbara has already begun moving towards reimagining the return of a strong and vital civic center. And bringing access to that re-energized downtown, this June we'll be cutting the ribbon on the State Street 101 underpass, a welcoming and interesting conduit between our waterfront and the downtown. It'll be wide, well-lit, and aesthetically pleasing walkways will invite visitors into our city with multiple modes of transportation accommodated. So like the rest of our agencies, housing is at the top of our priority list, and our community development department is actively moving towards improving service and expedition as they are an essential cog in the emergence of our downtown and in downtown housing. To that end, an ombudsman position has been launched with the idea of more efficiently enabling business tenant improvements and multi-unit housing projects to move forward. Our newly stated goal is to get to yes with applicants and add the element of certainty projects. And I think that's a long-awaited answer for most folks. Yes. In the meantime, we're all pretty busy with projects at La Cumbre, Paseo Nuevo, and many other the major project developments in the pipeline. And our Santa Barbara Housing Authority remains one of the premier housing authorities in the state of California, building high-quality and well-managed units for their low-income tier residents. Current projects include Hope Avenue, Upper La Cumbre, San Bracan, and the Carrillo commuter lot. The demand for these projects has always been challenging, but the creation of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund will help leverage the tax credit financing to move forward for them, as well as other organizations such as Habitat for Humanity. Homelessness, our unhoused citizens. This city is working actively to be innovative and effective. We recently partnered in the Faro Navigation Center on Chapala with the goal of having our service providers under one roof and taking the pressure off remote locations such as parks, parking lots, and libraries. Still in our first year, the number of clients being navigated towards the appropriate services is growing. Our service provider contracts, in cooperation with the Santa Barbara Police Department, are intended to provide a constant visible presence for our neighborhoods and our downtown. Additionally, our friends at Caltrans have been proven an amazing partner in brush clearing and fence erection around the freeways, helping to keep dangerously placed encampments away from inappropriate and dangerous locations. To that, we have a video.
For decades, homelessness in Santa Barbara has been an intractable and expensive challenge.
The city of Santa Barbara spends approximately $5 million a year just managing homelessness. So any way we can both help people in need, but also reduce the cost of managing homelessness on the city side is really solutions that we want to continue to invest in.
Helping the unhoused while saving money is no small feat. So the city started by looking at what was needed and what was already working. To test their findings, the city teamed up with service providers to create 3 pop-up neighborhood navigation centers. The results were encouraging.
We were actually able to facilitate 65 street exits over a year period.
Because of that success, the city began looking for a physical location that could offer regular hours of operation, as well as expanded access to services. The result is the Faro Daytime Navigation Center. The Faro Center brings together a network of service providers to offer comprehensive support services in a centralized, one-stop shop location.
The Faro Center for us is a mechanism to meet people where they are, continue the relationships that we've built with people on the street, and get them to where they need to be, which is interim or permanent housing.
All right, the star of that show, thank you. The star of that show is our own Barbara Anderson. It was a position that was created to be a liaison between the community and our public safety departments, as well as coordinate all those homeless services that we do in the city of Santa Barbara. So now we're coming into event season, and we're starting with some free concerts on Thursdays at Chase Palm Park. We've got Solstice, 4th of July, and Fiesta, and quite a few others. This fall, we'll have the Santa Barbara Half Marathon. And this year, yes, it's going to host 6,500 runners, so that'll be in November. In closing, we're not shy of activities, improvements, or projects, but always a clean, safe, and beautiful Santa Barbara is our collective goal. Enhancing cleaning, lighting, and welcoming open public spaces are all of the elements that are underway. The approach in all departments is to look forward and not just quote-unquote business as usual. We look for ways to maximize the day-to-day quality of life for all of our residents. So all in all, the state of the city of Santa Barbara is strong, sustainable, and moving positively towards a bright future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Rowse. Well, it's now my pleasure to invite to this stage another title sponsor, Vice President of Marketing, Kirsten McLaughlin from Cox Communication.
Thank you, Randy. Although I will correct one thing. He got my name right. Randy was saying Kirsten, Kristen. He has this challenge every time. But I am Kirsten McLaughlin. I am the Market Vice President, which means I oversee our operations here. I am not in marketing, but I support our marketing teams. And I am also a proud Chamber Board member. What a great event. This is always one of my favorites. It's a fantastic opportunity to bring together government and business to ensure our community thrives. From a Cox perspective, I look around and I see so many valued customers, businesses, residential, and government. Thank you for choosing us. We know there's more competition than ever, and you have plenty of choices for internet, TV, streaming, mobile, phone, cloud, managed services, and so much more. We are relentlessly committed to investing in this community, constantly upgrading our fiber-based network to stay ahead of what you need and be ready for future technologies the market hasn't even imagined yet. As we build the network of tomorrow today, all of our residential customers now have access to multi-gig speeds, and we have business customers with 100 gig circuits. And our network is more reliable and resilient and redundant than ever, helping our community navigate whatever Mother Nature throws our way. We continue to invest in new services, including recently welcoming OpenGov and their suite of services for our local governments to our Cox Enterprises family. And we have OpenGov here today if anyone wants to talk to David. We also invest in the organizations that strengthen our community, nonprofits, schools, and foundations. I want to highlight one today. Last year, we celebrated 20 years of Cox Innovation Labs with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. We have more than 100 labs nationwide, including 4 right here in Santa Barbara with the United Boys and Girls Club and Michael Baker. Always give the Boys and Girls Club a shout out. These innovation labs provide students with the tools and technology they need, building a better future for the next generation. And as part of that 20-year celebration, we kicked off our Cox Mobile Phone Case Design Contest. A little bit of a mouthful, but for our club teens. Earlier this year, we celebrated Annalicia C. from the West Side, and she's up there on your screen, as our local winner. And just a couple weeks ago, we announced Gracie in Louisiana as our grand prize winner. Gracie won $25,000 for a scholarship for a college of her choice, and she will have her design sold in Cox stores nationwide. But wait, there's more. The remaining 21 finalists, including Annalicia, are competing for a $5,000 scholarship in our fan favorite contest. So we need your help. Everybody in this room needs to take that QR code and/or go to the website and vote for Ana Lucia, and let's see one of Santa Barbara's own win this scholarship and see her case in our stores as well. Yes. Ooh. They told me not to mess with the microphones. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for trusting us with your connectivity needs and for enabling us to be a part of the incredible work that all of you do every day to make the Santa Barbara South Coast region an amazing place to live, work, and play. And now I have the pleasure of transitioning us to the next part of today's program. We all heard from our mayors. Fantastic job, Mayor Perotte, Mayor Alarcon, Mayor Rowse. Thank you for your vision, for your cities, and everything you shared with us. But now we're going to hear from our city managers and city administrators. I'm going to invite them each to the stage, and we're going to have a conversation about how all this work gets done. Ladies and gentlemen, it's first my pleasure to introduce Michael Ramirez, City Manager of Carpinteria. With over 24 years of public sector experience, Michael has dedicated his career to community service. Previously working with the Oxnard Elementary and Hueneme school districts, as well as the cities of Moorpark and Oxnard in Parks, Recreation, and Community Services. You can sit down unless you want to stand. They gave me a lot to say about you. Before stepping into his current role, he served as Carpinteria's assistant city manager for 2 years and has led the city as city manager for the past 2 years. Michael holds a master's of public policy and administration and a bachelor of arts in sociology, and he is deeply involved in the community, proudly supporting several nonprofits, including serving as a mentor for CADA. Please join me again in welcoming Michael. Next up, it's my pleasure to introduce Robert Nisbet, City Manager of Goleta, who brings, yes. Robert brings over 30 years of professional management experience to the region. Robert's been with the City of Goleta for more than 2 years, following an impressive career that includes serving as City Manager for Half Moon Bay, Assistant City General Manager for the East Bay Regional Park District, and Public Works Director for the City of Carpinteria. Should I say it again? But wait, there's more. He's also spent over a decade working with the Santa Barbara County. He spent over a decade working with the Santa Barbara County General Services Department, and is a proud UCSB Gaucho. Robert has a strong connection to our community and a wealth of knowledge in public administration. One more round of applause for Robert Nisbet. Man, I need some water with all these accomplishments. And to round us out, where's Kelly McAdoo? We are welcoming Kelly, who's celebrating her first anniversary as Santa Barbara City Manager, or City Administrator. I'm sorry, Kelly. Over the past year, Kelly has brought her wealth of experience in municipal leadership to our community, building on her distinguished career as City Manager and Chief Executive Officer for the City of Hayward, where she led a team of more than 900 employees. Her background also includes key leadership roles in Palo Alto and Fremont, along with an impressive academic foundation from the University of Kansas and executive training at the Harvard Kennedy School. As she continues to guide Santa Barbara's future with strategic vision and fresh perspectives, we are excited to hear her insights today. Please join me in welcoming Kelly McAdoo to our panel discussion. All right, welcome you guys. We got you very big, comfy chairs so you don't fall asleep. All right, we're gonna start today with a very light topic. Financials, sound good? You're supposed to laugh, you guys can laugh. It's a long program. We're in the meat of it now, laugh. I'm not as funny as Randy. All right. The past 5 years have been a roller coaster for city finances. Impacts of the pandemic on various revenue streams, followed by an influx of state and federal funds to help cities recover. Over the past 2 election cycles, we've seen each of the cities pass new taxes to address revenue, and cities are now facing disruptions due to changes at the federal level, as we've discussed today. Many of us in the local business community hoped that recent increases in taxes would be the end of our local budget concerns, but there seems to be just as much uncertainty today as ever before. Here's the question. Let's start by having each of you break down your city's budget, highlighting revenues and expenses. And as you go through, could you please provide us with some clarity and insights around the overall state of your budget and address some of the uncertainty that we know is out there in the community? Michael, you're going to start us off.
Yes, so I think the slides are going to pop up on the screen. Okay, great. Our 3 biggest revenue generators are going to be sales tax, which includes Measure X, and together those are about 33%. Our property tax is 30%, and our transient occupancy tax, or TOT, or tourism tax, at 21%. That being said, I was reminded to remember my audience repeatedly as I got up here. So believe it or not, I'm actually going to focus on the others, because the others include things like license and permits, charges for fees, and those things that often, I think, impact our businesses. And I had a great conversation before coming on this stage about somebody who had, about a year ago, went through a permit process with our city, and they told me it took about 8 months. And they were really happy to share that they had just gone through another permit with the city, and it took 3 months. And one of the reasons that they mentioned that went so well is because we had brought on some contract support to help our small city with the different fluctuations in permits and things that come into the city. And the way we were able to do that is our city actually has a lot of sort of old revenue mechanisms that haven't been updated in a long time, so they're no longer collecting, we're no longer collecting what it costs to do something, which can make a city reluctant to use outside contract services when it's costing you more for them than you're collecting. And so I had mentioned that about that sometime between the year of her 8 months and her 3 months, we'd actually just gone through this process amongst several others of updating our master fee schedule. It seems like such a simple thing, but when you're now collecting what it costs to do something, we're able to bring in more contract support. And even though it may be $50 more, $100 more, or whatever that is per unit, I think 8 months to 3 months, she was probably saved a lot more time and money during that time than she would have otherwise. So we're really happy about what we're doing in the other slices there in terms of our revenue. Next slide, as we move on to some of the things on our expense side. So professional services, oh, we changed the colors. Okay, so the professional services actually includes the sheriff's contract, and that's about 36%, but we wanted to highlight that the sheriff's contract is a big part of that, followed by our salaries and our benefits. As you all know, as business owners, it's just harder and harder to continue recruiting people. We're very happy that the freeway project has moved north, and that's helped us, but it's very difficult to compete as a small city with, you know, Ventura and Santa Barbara and Goleta to our north and south. And so we focus a lot on, as I know all our cities do, on that culture and that small town family oriented work job life balance, so as a way to attract folks to our city. So that's just a very important part, and those prices or those costs continue to go up. The other part there you'll notice is the 9% in the purple or lavender for the subsidies for programs. This is an area that the city's focusing on because these are programs that don't generate enough money to support themselves, and so those funds come from the general fund. In some cases, that's a policy decision and it's on purpose, like the library. And in other cases, it might be old assessment districts that are no longer collecting what they need, and so therefore those funds are coming from our general fund and instead of going to projects or other things that we would like to have them go to. And then there, very, very tiny, you'll see the sheriff UAL. That's our unfunded accrued liability. And a little bit nervous because I opened up my phone yesterday and my stocks were down 5%. And that UAL is essentially CalPERS, our pension fund for most agencies. They have a predicted outcome, and then they have what ends up actually happening. And when they predict a certain sort of return, and that return is not what they expected, that difference is what the cities have to pay, and those funds come out from what things that could be staff, could be projects, programs, and things like that. Fortunately, there's about a 2-year lag, but in State of the City 2027, I'm hoping that things have corrected themselves and we're not dealing with a large unfunded accrued liability for our sheriff or our own city. Next slide, please. So where are we at budget as a whole? So we have decreasing available fund balances. Those fund balances are essentially what our city has done as a strategy to this point, which is we save, we bring in grants, we conserve, and because of that, we're able to build up these large balances that we then use to pay for various projects. What we've seen is that, you know, sort of the leaky roof story where you have a leaky roof and you decide to wait and get the money so you could pay for it, but meanwhile the leak gets bigger, and then you have, we're at the restoration folks, water and mold restoration table. So then that leaky roof turns to mold and all of those things, and all of a sudden your leaky roof is now 10 times as much. And so we made the strategic decision to spend those available fund balances on projects like a $6 million pavement project we just completed, because what we know is that this year it would have been $8 million and $10 million, and we feel a responsibility to use those funds wisely. Now, that being said, we are going to have to find a way to restore those fund balances. And the fact of the matter is infrastructure is aging faster and costs are going up faster than we can fill up the bank. And so we're going to have to look at other ways to do that, because what you also see there is our capital improvement plan, is our investments into our infrastructure, which is a key priority for us. That being said, we have strong reserves. We are not, you know, we have 40% of our operating and debt service expenditures as a policy approved by the council in the bank. So we are here, you know, we are strong and ready to withstand any sort of thing that could come our way. We are also focusing on cost recovery. There's the master fee schedule, the recent passing of Measure B, modernizing our assessment districts. I'll give a shout out to Assistant City Manager Ryan Kintz, along with our Program Manager Aaron Maker. They can wave over there. They are the ones helping to bring that money in. And one of the examples I'll give is AB 939. That's our solid waste programming. So we recently increased our fees by 5%, and you might think, oh my God, 5%. So we did that. But by doing so, we were able to really ramp up that program. Now, instead of one staff in the whole division, there's 2. We can actually do outreach to the businesses, so we're not just passing policies and never telling you about them or helping you with them. We have a second staff person there, and after our 5% increase, we are still the lowest in terms of charges and costs related to our waste hauling services. So, yeah, thank you for that. So that's how far behind we are. We can make 5% increases and improve our service levels and still be the lowest. So those are things that we're looking to do. So when you hear about increases in Carpinteria, check the final number first. We still might be the lowest before you look at the percentage. And then ultimately, this is all to improve our long-term planning. The council is going to be considering this Monday moving to a 2-year budget, which just allows us to forecast out further. And we'll continue to balance this conservation and investments in our community. So I don't know how I did on time, but hopefully I'm all right.
We're a little over. I was trying to send you the mind meld, but thank you.
I will cut it off on my future responses.
It is hard to cover a whole city's finance budget in 6 minutes, but Robert's going to do it. Go!
I can do it. I can do it. First, an aside on AB 939. I was actually around when that bill was passed. That was 1990. That's 35 years ago. Thank you everyone for coming, and it's nice to see a lot of people still here. I know it's a long show tonight, but appreciate everyone sticking around. We have the same template for this question, so now you're getting used to these pie charts. I know pie charts are not that exciting. Try to make them exciting if I can. So same basic template that you just saw from Carpinteria. I'll make a couple notes here. We have the same 3 main revenue sources that Carpinteria has. Property tax, you can see it in the green. Transiency occupancy tax, 27%, the light blue. And then the sales tax is the blue. Michael mentioned their Measure X. We've had a similar sales tax measure, Measure B. You can see it on the orange pie. It is transaction and use tax. There are some subtle differences that our accountants will tell us about between that and sales tax, but really for this purpose, it is sales tax. So I will combine the blue pie and the orange pie, and now in Goleta, sales tax is our #1 revenue source because of that. So that's 40%. So very interesting that that is our biggest revenue source, and transiency occupancy tax is #2. So kind of unusual. Most cities in California, probably property tax maybe is their largest. So kind of an interesting takeaway, I think. That all 3 cities have passed these recent sales tax measures. The other note I'll make here, it's not shown, but our projections for ending this year, property tax a little bit up, sales tax flat maybe, and transiency occupancy tax down a little bit for this year. So I just made a similar presentation a couple nights ago. And I would say that might be a leading indicator. People start to spend less on luxury goods and travel. I'm not going to predict what's happening in the next couple of years, in the next day. But it's something to be concerned about, and we're certainly looking at that. Next slide, please. Our expenditures, too many slices of pies there, sorry about that. We did it by department. I'll just call your attention to the 3 biggest slices. So like Carpinteria, public safety is one of our largest. The green one, 15% of our expenditures. Public works, 27%. I think that says a quarter of the pie. And then capital improvement projects. We are quite heavy in capital improvement projects, like Michael noted. And I think that's a good sign, generally, of a city, and it is indicative of a healthy city, I think. Many cities rely on other sources of funds to do their capital projects, and there's a tendency over time to spend more and more general fund on operations and not capital. And so to the extent we are spending quite a bit of our general fund on capital, we are investing in the future, #1. But #2, if something bad happens, another pandemic, obviously, it's easier to pause capital than it is to pause operational. So I look at that orange piece as something very positive for Goleta. Next slide, please. I wanted to show this on this 3rd slide. We have recently borrowed a large amount of money for us, $36 million. We issued bonds, typical mechanism that governments use, usually for capital projects. I won't go into all the details, but this is a big borrowing for us. We did feel the time was right. We passed our sales tax measure 2 years ago, so we had that new revenue source. And we had several big capital projects that were slowly moving their way through our process. And so it was time. And you can see, people can argue it's never the right time or interest rates are high, but we felt pretty good about it. We just closed a couple weeks ago. We're very proud of that. We got pretty good interest rates. This is government tax-exempt financing, so that's why it's looking a little bit lower than your mortgage. So we're pretty proud about that. So I think that's also a good indicator. I think there are rough times ahead. but we have some big capital projects that I'll probably touch on later that we're going to be focusing our attention on. And with that, I will cede some time to Santa Barbara.
Well, you cede it to Mike.
Thank you, Robert. And well done. Kelly, you're up.
Great, thank you. First, I just want to say thank you all. I'm just coming up on my first anniversary with the City of Santa Barbara. I was here last year after I had just been announced as city administrator but hadn't started yet. So I just want to thank everyone for the warm welcome I have gotten in this community. It really is a small town, and but that is a really big asset, and it has just been a wonderful first year and really grateful to be here. So sorry I took 30 seconds on, well, thanking everyone. I just wanted to step back a second because we're talking about, cities' general funds, and for Santa Barbara, the general fund is really, probably just one of many funds that we have, and I don't even think it's probably the biggest, but not by much. We have our water and wastewater funds, we have our airport, we have our waterfront, all of which operate as sort of separate business entities. And so the general fund really is the one that funds the most visible city services, which includes our police and fire, parks and recreation, parks maintenance, street maintenance. And so I just wanted to sort of differentiate that when we talk about this, this is where all of your tax dollars go, but it's also where the most visible services get funded from. And so you'll see a little bit of a difference here from Carp and Goleta. We now have 2 additional sales tax, and I want to thank the voters of Santa Barbara for approving Measure I last fall. And the mayor talked a little bit about that, which is our new half-cent sales tax, which was meant to maintain essential services. So you'll see the Measure C sales tax, which we actually don't use to fund operations. That actually goes purely to capital budget, even though it is a general fund revenue. And so that does not fund city staff at this point other than project managers who are managing those capital projects. So we don't really count that $30 million towards our operations. But with Measure I, last year the city was facing a pretty dire deficit of about somewhere between $7 and $15 million a year as you looked out in the forecast. And so for us it was really important, and I'm very grateful as the new city manager to have that measure pass, because it's always nice to not have to cut services in your first year as the new boss. And so just really, really happy about that. I do want to say, our TOT is remaining strong. Sales tax is coming in a little bit less. You can see our revised budget here. The Measure I went into effect on April 1st, so this is only 1 quarter of revenue. We expect that to generate about $15 million a year. And I just want to highlight that about 50% of the city's sales tax comes from tourism. And so for us, that's really important. And I think we forget sometimes that we are really a tourism-driven economy. And so really focusing on how do we maintain that strength, and how do we continue to attract people to Santa Barbara while balancing our continued excellent quality of life that we all enjoy. So next slide. Talk a little bit about expense. We broke it down a little differently, but you'll see that over 60% of our general fund goes to salaries and benefits, and that's because at Root, we're a public service agency, so we pay for people to do all the work for the firefighters to show up when you call 911 and our police officers. And so that's really the key piece of our general fund expenses. And you'll see, if you were doing your math between the last slide and this slide, we're still ending fiscal year 25 with about a $7 million deficit. And that, again, is why Measure I was so critical. Next year, we are anticipating a balanced budget, thankfully, and really grateful for that. Measure I will allow us, and I'll move on to the next slide quickly so we can talk about budget considerations. Measure I will allow us to unfreeze some public safety positions, some police officer positions that had been frozen due to the budget deficit. It will allow us to maintain library hours 7 days a week, which we've had, which has been a great asset. And then also one of the key priorities, as the mayor mentioned, is housing and homelessness, and an annual contribution to our local housing trust fund. And we have been, over the past few years, a lot of our homeless services contracts we funded with one-time dollars through stimulus money. So if we hadn't have had Measure I, it would have been a real challenge to figure out how we fund those services on an ongoing basis, which is really important. Really, this year, focus on project delivery. You heard our new public police building and the Dwight Murphy Park. That's over $120 million of projects. Probably the biggest capital project that the city has undertaken. And so very important for us to really focus on that project management, make sure that we're budgeting accordingly and getting those done. And I know everyone will be sad to hear that we'll be reducing street work in Santa Barbara over the next few years, just so that we have the money on hand to be able to really complete the police building and the Dwight Murphy Park. And so there's some upfront expenses in addition to the bond issuance. We put on here the classification and compensation study. This last couple of years, the city has been undertaking a comprehensive review of all of our job descriptions and salaries. And so, obviously we live in a very expensive region and clearly have a housing crisis, so we need to make sure that our compensation and our job structures are reflective of the market and also allow people to be able to live here. And so that will be coming up, working on implementation of that over the next couple of years with our labor unions, and a key piece of keeping our employees and recruiting new employees. And then lastly, just of course the federal funding uncertainty. We get about $1 million in social service money every year through the Community Development Block Grant Program, which funds key nonprofit agencies throughout our community. And then also about over $3.5 million for the harbor dredging from the Army Corps of Engineers. All of that funding is currently at risk. And so trying to figure out how do we obviously keep those core functions going, and those are obviously core features of our community and core services that we provide. And so continuing to work with our Congressman Carbajal and our federal lobbyists to try to figure out how we keep that funding intact. So I will stop there.
Thank you, Kelly. Our next round of questions is around economic development. Did I hear a woohoo? You all mentioned how reliant our local budgets and economies are on sales tax revenue. And so a thriving business community is essential for financial stability. How is your city working with local businesses to foster economic growth, attract new investment, and ensure long-term sustainability? Are there specific initiatives or partnerships that you believe will have the greatest impact on supporting businesses in the coming years? And Robert, you're up first this time.
Great, thank you. No, great question. I appreciate that. Oops, question. So we got a similar question last year, and at that time I said I was really excited. We had just approved, our council just adopted an economic development strategy, a 5-year. I had a copy last year. I don't have a copy this year. We're now in year 2 of that. It goes really fast. We'll probably stretch that 5-year document to a 10-year document because that's how things go. But I will just highlight maybe 3 areas of focus from that work, because it was great work that we did in kind of looking to the future on this question. So one is tourism. Kelly has already mentioned it, how much of their sales tax comes from tourism. I imagine their TOT too. Same with us, sales tax and TOT. So very, very important. It was definitely acknowledged in our strategy that we needed to capitalize on it. And so it's something that we're putting a lot of thought into. We work with the chamber, we work with the local businesses, and we embrace some of the reasons that are kind of out of our control, that we do base our economy on tourism. We're in a beautiful place. We have wonderful beaches. We have UCSB right next to us. So we're lucky there. And part of the strategy was acknowledging that and saying, hey, we're not going to just flip a switch and become a different economy. We are going to be a tourist economy to some extent, and we have to brace it to the best of our ability. So that's one. Number 2, small businesses, and we adapt too. So some of you may know we're doing a big construction project in our old town. We're putting in roundabouts, a new bridge. We have kind of crazy back-end parking. It's made the news a few times. That project didn't even start last year. It's now a year old and has another 1.5 years left. But what the council heard from small businesses down there is, hey, we're hurting. This construction's driving customers away. So our council said, okay, we hear you. They came up with $125,000, and we're in the process of giving these small grants to small businesses to do things to attract more people to downtown. And we left it very, very flexible. Sometimes I think the small things matter. They're not big grants, but I do think they go a long way with some of our smaller businesses and the businesses that have been there a long time and that we want to keep in Old Town. So that's really exciting. Those grants will be rolled out soon, and we're really excited about that. And then finally, I want to circle back with comments that Kristen made about a focus of theirs on workforce development and attracting quality companies and partnering with UCSB, and that is, of course, the tech sector. We have a number of tech companies in Goleta. I don't even realize what we have in Goleta. Occasionally I get a tour and I'm blown away every time. I'm like, wow, I did not know this was in Goleta. So it's something we're certainly partnering with the Chamber on, and recognizing that with UCSB right there, we really need to capitalize on the fact that we are becoming this area for high tech. And quick story, I recently had the opportunity to take a tour of a Google facility, and I was blown away. I can't explain what I saw, but it was one of the most impressive inside of a buildings I have ever seen. It was just amazing how beautiful it was, and what they're doing there, I just can't even fathom it. And they're growing. So they bought the building, they bought more land in Goleta, and they plan on building another building and doing all kinds of stuff there. So that's just one example, but it's really something that we're acknowledging in Goleta. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. And on behalf of the Chamber and many of the businesses here, thank you for including the business community in the economic development strategy planning. You and your staff did an amazing job, and it was very much a collaborative effort. We appreciate that. Thank you. Kelly, you're up next. Why are you laughing?
I don't know. I think I can sum up the conversation about economic development in Santa Barbara in 2 words: State Street. Anyway, it's been an interesting, I think, challenge. Obviously, a long and very contentious conversation about what do we do to revitalize State Street? What do we do in downtown? And I think, coming in as an outsider, I've said this to a couple folks, there's a lot of cities throughout the state that would be so excited to have the downtown that Santa Barbara currently has. However, recognizing that we are Santa Barbara and we do want something different and better, it's how do we get there and what does that look like? And so, as you know, we've been undergoing a master planning process for a number of years. And I think what kind of happened in the meantime was there was this pause on any sort of capital investment in the downtown corridor in terms of the city's investment in improvements, beautification. And so we're sort of in the final stages of the master plan development. And in the meantime, the staff has asked the council to appropriate a significant amount of money to do beautification projects, to do some pilot projects, to expand sidewalk dining, and to really kind of help clean up and really spruce up downtown as we're trying to finish up the master plan. So more to come. Obviously, I don't think we're done with that conversation. I am appreciative our new Downtown Property Owners Association has been very engaged and involved as they're forming about what happens with State Street, and so very excited about the possibilities. I think coupled with that is kind of what Robert talked about, which is incentives. And Santa Barbara really hasn't done incentives for businesses or for economic development before, and I think we're probably going to need to have that conversation about what do we do to help people, whether it's streamlining permit processes, whether it's financial incentives. We're looking at how do we help people with stormwater requirements in the downtown, because there's not enough space to actually build the infrastructure that's needed for the stormwater requirements. So looking kind of strategically at what could incentives look like in the downtown. I did want to focus, obviously, I have heard a lot about Santa Barbara's permitting process, and as the mayor mentioned, our new mantra is getting to yes. And so really trying to figure out how do we change the mentality on staff and just sort of this just general feeling of, oh my gosh, we can't get anything done in Santa Barbara. And I feel like that reputation has now gotten out there, even though we've made a lot of changes in the last few years. And one of the biggest was we implemented online plan review software last fall, DigiPlan. And so now you can submit your plans electronically. It's much more transparent. People can see where they are in the process, and we're just going to continue to improve on that. I think, just going back to State Street for a second, because I wanted to talk about the Paseo Nuevo mall redevelopment. Have been very intimately involved in that. I have weekly meetings with the development team and working to really negotiate what happens there. As many of you know, the city owns the land underneath the mall, and so it's a complicated deal. It's not a simple redevelopment, but really looking to bring residential into the downtown. And I think that a lot of cities kind of started building housing in their downtowns about 10 years ago. So we're playing a little bit of catch up with that. And so I think that'll be a really huge benefit. Lastly, I just want to give a shout out to our airport, because I think there's a huge economic development opportunity there. We have completely kind of revamped and re-envisioned our real estate division as part of the airport department, and very excited to really look at how we complement the work that Goleta has done in terms of tech development and more industrial development around the airport. So excited for that possibility as well.
Thanks, Kelly. Getting to yes, I love it. I love it. Thank you. All right, rounding us out, Michael.
Yes, the number counts down, not up, and the red light is not the power button. So I got it.
Got it.
So we're going to continue to update our revenue mechanisms and invest in efficiencies throughout the city. We're not going to keep trying to conserve at the expense of that impact on our business community. We are revitalizing our Economic Vitality Committee, which includes our mayor and our new council member, Julia Mayor, and they're just going to be a powerhouse, and I know that they're going to be taking some really great recommendations to our council. I know Kristen has already said that she plans on being at all of those meetings and representing you there, so I know that's going to be great. We're going to keep investing in our online platforms. You know, we just recently brought on a solar permitting platform that now people don't have to drive from San Bernardino down to City Hall to get things taken care of. They can get it all done online. That did involve us adding like a tech surcharge, which, as I was talking to the person earlier, said, yeah, we see that all the time, and we just implemented ours, and so it's just making things better for everyone. Housing, you know, we continue to want to make sure that we're bringing workforce housing affordability to Carpinteria. We believe that we're a very desirable place, and a lot of the developments that we see come in, and they're like multi-million-dollar, you know, homes, and we're not sure that those are the kind of homes that are going to take care of our small business folks, and so our council is very deliberate in fighting for those things. You know, I know that our mayor, you know, several months ago just, you know, fought to get one of the low-income units from a 50-year deed restricted to a 99-year deed restricted, and those things matter to our council, so we continue to do that. And then, of course, as our mayor mentioned during her presentation about our city taking, it being a focus of keeping Carp or protecting that small town charm, because ultimately we believe, why do people come to Carp? They have Ventura below, they have Santa Barbara, Goleta above, and there's a unique charm to Carpinteria that I think is what brings people there, and it's why our businesses can be successful. And so protecting that, our unique aspects of the city, is very important to our council and supporting our businesses.
Thank you. All right, moving on to, the category is various challenges. So we're going to talk about a few different things here. Cities across the South Coast face a common set of challenges, as we know. It's one of the reasons why this event is so special, because we can come together and talk about some of our shared challenges and how we're addressing them. Things like homelessness, housing shortages, natural disasters, and significant policy shifts at the state and federal levels. Looking at the past year, what would you say has been the most significant challenge or shift in your city, and why? What steps are being taken to address it? And what should businesses be aware of moving forward? And Kelly, we're going to start with you.
Thanks. I'm going to really focus on housing and homelessness because I actually think, the housing crisis on the South Coast ties into our economic development question. And so, I think and homelessness and just sort of the support of that community, all of that ties together with economic development in a very critical way. I will say that City of Santa Barbara, I think, contrary to what some people might think, has actually invested a significant amount of money in the last 5 years in the housing crisis. At a time when you saw we were facing pretty significant budget deficits, over the last 5 years, the city has contributed over $22 million towards preserving and building new affordable housing. It was about 350 units, either preserving those, renovating, or building new units. And also donating a parcel of land, city-owned land, to the Housing Authority for additional housing development. And so that is a very substantial contribution from the city's general fund and housing funds. And so just really, I think that's a great step forward. We obviously have so much more work to do, but really proud of the city's contributions in spite of the city's financial issues over the past number of years. You heard about the Faro Center. I won't spend too much more time on that, but really just excited for that partnership. And really, I think the next step in that process is developing permanent supportive housing so that as folks come into that navigation center, there is housing that we can navigate them into. And so that's, I think, the next evolution of where we go with our navigation center. I also wanted to call out, we made a major change to our encampment response, homeless encampment response last year. There was a Supreme Court decision that limited cities to they had to actually wait 72 hours before doing anything in response to homeless encampments. So after that decision was overturned, the city changed its response policy to 24 hours. And we still really respond to every encampment with compassion and with service providers. So it's not just an enforcement. We go and we talk to these individuals and we try to get them into shelter or into care. And so in addition to that, we were a co-recipient with the county for a California Encampment Resolution Fund, which is for vehicle encampments. And we have partnered with New Beginnings, and that program has been pretty outstanding over the past year. Over 80 individuals and 55 vehicles have been enrolled within the city, and 26 have been referred to interim housing, and 23 have been permanently housed just in the last 6 months. So very excited to continue that. Of course, again, these grants are one-time monies, and so again, the challenge becomes when we have a successful program, how do we continue funding those services going forward? So a lot more to come. This year's budget, we will be looking at, through the Measure I funds, an ongoing contribution to the city's local housing trust fund and some of our homeless programs. So more to come on that.
Thank you. Next up, Michael.
Yeah, well, I think I covered a lot of this in some of the other responses, so I'll broaden a little bit and just say that the city's going to be doing a lot in the area of emergency management. So Julissa Briones, who is here today, is our new program manager for communications and emergency services, and she's going to be training, and we're fortunate to have such a great county infrastructure when it comes to emergency management. So she's doing training with Kelly Hubbard and them at the county EOC. So we want to make sure that we're prepared for those things that might come our way. Going back to the public safety thing, and I can't recall whether I shared this last year, but our projections as of this time last year, and of course things have changed since then with things like the passing of Measure B, showed that at the rate our sheriff's contract was going up, that it would exhaust all of Measure X and our TOT by 2027. Again, that was pre-passing of Measure B and those sorts of things. So again, updating those revenue streams or mechanisms is going to be extremely important to keep up with some of these rising costs. So I think what our community has to look forward to is our city council and staff going out and really looking to educate the community about some of those realities and areas for improvement, and hoping to make some of those strategic decisions necessary to continue to move us forward and keep the great things that we have going.
Thank you. Robert.
My turn. I have two. One's easy, and one's kind of hard, I think. Not easy, basic. One is basic. My council will get a chuckle out of this. What we have heard most about our challenge in the last year is street paving. Very basic. Fix the potholes. So there are lots of challenging problems, and I think there's an expectation that government work on those challenging problems. But there's also, and I think we're seeing it nationally, kind of an expectation that before we start working on all these things that we don't understand and are really hard, we need to do the basics. And so we're getting that message, public safety and fix the potholes. And so we have, the council has put a priority on paving the streets, not just for cars, but for bikes and pedestrians too, making the streets safe, but maintaining the infrastructure we have. So that's basic. It's not necessarily easy. We got ourselves into arrears, but we are playing catch up. The second one's maybe not one you thought of. So this is one that I've been preoccupied with lately, and I don't know if it's a problem today. Maybe I'm late to the party, but I think others know about it. There's certainly experts talking about it. The county is probably engaged. There's nonprofits that are certainly engaged. But I'm like seeing things and maybe worrying too much, but that is adolescent mental health. So for me, when I was a kid, I'd come home from school and hang out with all the neighborhood friends, and we'd go in the woods, we'd ride our BMX bikes, we'd build forts, and then we'd do that all day, and then I'd go home for dinner. And I just get this sense that it's not that simple anymore. I don't have kids, but I get a sense that it's not like that anymore. So I don't have any idea about this problem. I can't get my head around it. And I think I even read things that there's arguments out there whether it even is a problem. So maybe it's not. I don't know really what I'm talking about probably, but something about it worries me. And I read a lot about it. And in fact, I was engaged with one of our council members over coffee, and we were talking about it the other day. So it's on my mind, so I thought I would bring it up. But one thing I do know is that the big social problems that we struggle with, homelessness, mentioned by Kelly, child care, the drug epidemic, they're challenging. But one thing I do know is they become always economic problems too. So this is a business crowd. We're local government. I don't know if it's on our radar or not, but I see it in the future. I hope I'm wrong, but it seems like it's a challenge, and hopefully local governments and businesses, hopefully we all realize that we probably do have a role in this, and don't wait 5 years.
Thank you. So Robert asked me before if I was going to surprise you all with any questions, and I'm not, other than we're going to modify the last question, and you're each going to have a minute for it. Same question, just less time, because we are running short and we want to get you out of here. So, as you guys can see, we have 3 incredible city managers, city administrators leading our cities here. They are collaborative, they are open, they are here to work with us. And let's take advantage of that. So the question for all of you is, what is your takeaway for this audience? What should we know about what you're doing every day? How can we be helpful to you? What's the one takeaway in 1 minute or less? And Michael, you're going to start this one.
So small town charm doesn't mean that our businesses are ornaments or decorations to create that charm. To us, charm is, for a city like Carpinteria means that our small businesses, our small business owners live next to us. Their kids go to the schools that your kids go to, which means they have to be successful, which means the line may be longer than 5 minutes, and you may have to park a few parking spaces down. And so we recognize that there's sometimes that idea of charm that means staying small, and that we want to help our businesses succeed. And then we really ask you all to join the conversation around development, which is the largest topic of conversation in Carpinteria. We have our open space preservation folks, we have our housing folks, and we have our business community. And we really think that if these people come together, they can realize that, you know, focusing perhaps housing in certain areas downtown could also stimulate business while preserving open space and achieving our housing goals. So I really encourage you all to be a part of the conversation moving forward.
Thank you. Robert.
Let's see. I would say the message I would give is, hey, there's tension between business, community, and local governments. We regulate and we issue permits, so I get that. But we're also partners. And I think that's going to be more important even now and over the next 4 years. So not going to get into national politics too much, but I will note, you know, with what's going on, I certainly feel it more when I see federal employees getting laid off, because this is all I've done my whole life, is public service. So they're people, and so I guess that's the message is, you know, we're not faceless bureaucracy, we're just local people, you know, working in local government. And so what's going on, and again, Kristen mentioned it at the beginning of her talk, you know, it doesn't matter which side of the politics you're on, something crazy is going on, and it's going to have ripple effects. And so without going too much further, I have 5 seconds, you know, we're losing federal funds, and so it was mentioned earlier, we're going to have to batten down, and that is going to have an impact and just force the strengthening between local governments and businesses that much more.
Well said. Thank you. Kelly.
Mine's very similar to Robert's. I just coming in as the new city administrator, we have such an outstanding staff in Santa Barbara, and one of my jobs is to make sure that they have the tools and the resources and the training to be the most effective public servants they can. We're doing a lot internally in terms of organizational change that people outside the city organization won't see. Actually, this month we're starting lean innovation training with a number of our city staff, and very excited to bring that to the organization. And what I would ask for is a little bit of kindness. You know, we're trying to do the best, but a lot of times our systems are sometimes broken, and some of our staff don't have the ability to change them overnight. And so come with solutions, come with suggestions, and recognize that sometimes things can't change overnight. Organizational change usually takes somewhere between 5 and 7 years to really make it stick. I plan to stick around for a while, and so I just hope that you will all be partners with us as we try to get to yes.
And with that, well done. I think we're right back on time. So please help me thank these 3 incredible city managers and city administrators. There was a lot of information that we covered in less than an hour, so well done. Thank you all for being here today. I'm going to pass it back over to Randy to close us out.
Kirsten, Michael, Robert, Kelly, thank you very much. Very insightful. You all get wonk status. Who's done 3 city budgets before 2 in their life? Maybe they did, but you now get to go back and claim wonk status. Thank you for hanging with us. This is what our city does well. We get together, and not only do we listen, but we can stay and talk, because important people are here that you want to chat with and have a civil dialogue. Thank you, Kelly, for a challenge. You may want a selfie to remember the event. This is your backdrop if you choose to do that. That is your backdrop if you choose to use that. I would encourage you to shake hands with one another, but I'd like to give one really warm thanks to the chamber staff who worked very hard to make this happen. Kristen's team is awesome. It's fun to work with them. I hope you get the chance to do that sometime. We'll see you at Carpinteria's 50th. How about that? 60th, sorry. Carpinteria's 60th. Or meet me in Old Town Goleta coming up in May, if you want to get out there. Or how about the farmer's market? I hope I see you at one of those places. Have a great afternoon.